Because worldwide, Zimbabweans are one of the most educated Africans across the world. That's just the truth. So to have experts to leave China to come and treat Zimbabweans is a shock. Hi guys, it's your girl lilymutamztv, also known as Z, girl from Zambia. If you're new to my YouTube channel, please subscribe so that each time I upload videos, you will be notified that Z aposapoka video, that Z has uploaded a video. In this video, I will be talking about Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is a country that borders Zambia. In fact, in the olden days before we both gained our separate independence, we were called the Northern and Southern Rhodesia. And therefore, Zimbabwe is close to home. We feel part of each other, basically. So when I talk about Zimbabwe, it's because I know that we are like family. The reason why I've decided to talk about Zimbabwe, which I've never really spoken about on my YouTube channel, is because of what is happening with the COVID-19 and things that are taking place across Africa. So I've taken up a role of commenting on a few issues here and there where I feel I can come in and just express my views. So in Zimbabwe, they have recently had 12 Chinese doctors that were flown in from China to help combat COVID-19. Now, I was surprised when I saw the news because I follow Zimbabwean news, and I know that last year there was a protest that took place because Zimbabwean doctors were complaining that they were not being paid. So I was wondering, how are these Chinese doctors going to be paid? Who's going to pay them? You know, we've talked about how China has a huge agreements with African countries. We've seen how the Tanzanian President John Magufuli has cancelled the $10 billion loan. And we having doctors coming over to Africa when we have our own trained doctors, it doesn't make sense. When we have invested years and some doctors have been to the best schools even around the world. So last year, Zimbabwe had doctors protesting, and the reason why they were protesting was because they were not being paid. And there's a Zimbabwean doctor whose video had gone viral. He was just complaining that, look, well, we are not being paid. We don't have the right equipment, medical equipment, in order for us to look after patients. So why should we even carry on looking after patients? So they striked. It was a formal strike, not anything violent, but he was abducted. The guy was abducted. I'll read something about him so that we can get the correct names, because I don't want to just say things without evidence or the correct names. So he was abducted, and there was a huge scare among the doctors. Like, you know, they were told they need to work, but they don't have the equipment. How do you treat a patient with no injections? That's in Zimbabwe, guys. Only in September, November, these things were happening. So I'm wondering, how are they going to pay these doctors? And then it only took a billionaire, Strive Masiwisa. I will pronounce it later properly when I can get the proper pronunciation. He decided to pay all the Zimbabwean doctors. Now that's humanity we talk about, when we have billionaires from Africa that push their continent, push their country to where we need to see our countries. So I was really impressed when I saw that Mr. Strive, who is an IT billionaire and TV technology billionaire, is the one that paid these doctors because he was worried for his people. That was in January. So before I go any further, let's talk about the doctors that have arrived in Zimbabwe, and I'll read something about it so that we can get the facts. I just don't want to blab, but I would like to read so that we know what has gone on, and then I will also be adding my commentary. So on Monday afternoon, the experts from Yunnan province arrived in Zimbabwe's capital Harare, along with medical supplies, which include ventilators, nucleic acid testing kits, face masks, and medical protective suits. Then the Zhu Yimin, I don't know how to pronounce the name, but something like that, Zhu Yimin, Deputy Director of Provincial Health Commission, said Zimbabwe and some other African countries had lent a hand to China during the period when China was hit by COVID-19. They were hit hard by COVID-19. The Chinese medical experts are expected to help Zimbabwe fight the pandemic. Let me stop there. How did Zimbabwe help China when they cannot even pay their doctors? Tell me something here. I don't believe this. Honestly, how did Zimbabwe help China? This is shocking. So the Chinese government has decided to send these experts in the name of helping Zimbabwe with all the kits and all the things that are needed for them to combat COVID-19 in Zimbabwe, because African countries had helped China. How did African countries help China when the virus started in China and the whole world is still trying to find out how we can cure the coronavirus? Okay, so the article further reads that the 12 experts are from respiratory departments, infectious disease departments, and the field of intensive medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, infection control, public health, and nursing. Most of them have frontline experience to the prevention of COVID-19, prevention and control of COVID-19. Now, let me stop there. These are experts who can control the coronavirus. Now, these are said to be experts that can help control the coronavirus. The same thing happened in Nigeria, where loads of doctors went there. About 15, 16 doctors were in Nigeria, but no one even knows where those doctors are. Apparently, it is alleged that those doctors went to treat the Chinese instead of Nigerian residents. Please comment in the comment section down below what you know about that. According to the Post, again, experts from Yunnan province left Changsha, the provincial capital, to Zimbabwe, along with medical supplies. This is the image here, which has been donated to the government of Zimbabwe. The doctors from China will share their experience in dealing the pandemic and control of the prevention of the pandemic with their counterparts in Zimbabwe, and provide prevention and treatment training to local medics. They will also provide guidance and assistance to other Chinese medical teams in Africa via video conferences. Now, this is something fishy to me, because if you as a Zimbabwean government failed to pay your own doctors, you now accept help from the Chinese. I call it help because I don't believe it is help. There is something the Chinese are benefiting from Zimbabwe, because there's no way they can send all these 12 experts, leave their jobs in China, and come with all these supplies and claim it is a gift. I doubt that. There's something the president of Zimbabwe is not telling us as Africans. I mean, we are part of Zimbabwe. there's something, obviously they've made agreements which we don't know. For all you know, China is benefiting massively from Zimbabwe, and this has come as a gesture to the Zimbabweans because they need help. But I doubt that's the case. The Chinese people are in Zimbabwe to benefit something. Okay, so the article further adds that the medical experts will propose a professional scheme that will be suitable for Zimbabwe after grasping the local situation of the virus. This was said by Hu Chengping, a 63-year-old professor of respiratory disease and critical illness. China adopts a combination of traditional medicine and Western medicine, which is effective in alleviating symptoms of patients who have the coronavirus, and it helps to boost their confidence. This was said by San Shunhan, the only TCM expert of the team. So the Chinese people are in Zimbabwe to also teach Zimbabweans traditional Chinese medicine. Honestly, as Africans, we have our own means of healing ourselves because we do have natural herbs. We do have farmlands which we can farm, but bringing Chinese people all the way, they claim they've come to help Zimbabwe. I don't think it's the case, because I believe the reason why they're saying they are there to help Zimbabwe is because the Zimbabwean residents or Zimbabwean citizens will complain about it, to say, why are these people coming in, especially doctors? Because worldwide, Zimbabweans are one of the most educated Africans across the world. That's just the truth. So to have experts to leave China to come and treat Zimbabweans is a shock. Because even in the UK, Zimbabweans are leading professionals in most fields, be it social work, be it nursing. They run agencies in the UK. They are doing so well across the world. And even teachers across the globe. Zimbabweans have migrated to many places because they have a very, very great curriculum of education. So to have Chinese doctors traveling to Zimbabwe is a shock. I would even expect this for Zambia, but for Zimbabwe, this is a shock. So the TCM, traditional medicine of China, Chinese traditional medicine, which is a culture of China, and Zimbabwe, they have their traditional treatment methods as well, obviously. But the Chinese people have said, we are the experts because we had the coronavirus. Now, for me, like I've said before, it is highly likely that the virus was created in order to me, the virus was created in order to handicap the world. And the only country that can help solve the problems of Africa is China. Why China? Because that's what they want. To be the top country of the world that says, we have the experts. We experienced the coronavirus. Because the Chinese want to come out like the Samaritans who are saying, we have experienced the virus before you did. So they made sure the virus was known to the world, that they had the virus first and they dealt with it. We don't have it anymore. So we are now coming to help you. So the Chinese are trying to play good Samaritans, but the Chinese are not dumb. There is no way Chinese people can come to Africa because they want to help. That's not the case. I very much doubt that. There is an agreement that is hidden. Very soon we'll know the truth. I will do my research on that. And if you, my Zimbabwean subscribers, can let me know, comment down below. So, based on the traditional medicines, this expert San Shunhan is advising that they hope to encourage that these medicines are explored in Zimbabwe, and they can play a wonderful role of treating COVID-19 patients based on their own culture and obviously Zimbabwean culture. Since Wunan sent the first medical team to Zimbabwe in 1985 as part of the Chinese AIDS for the country. The province has sent a total of 17 groups of 166 medical workers to Zimbabwe to provide medical services to the local people. Now, when I read such, it shocks me that we still rely on other people to help us when Zimbabwe should be a very rich country. In the olden days, we used to admire Zimbabwe. Zambia used to admire Zimbabwe. People with money used to send children to Zimbabwe for school because Zimbabwe had that good reputation for education. So last year, a medical doctor named Peter Magombe, a doctors association leader, had been organizing strikes for doctors to be paid, and he suddenly disappeared, and the strike was not anything negative, but it was just like, you're not paying us our money. And they also didn't have medical supplies, and the video that he did went viral. It was such a powerful short video that he did that was shared all over WhatsApp, and there was fears that he would go missing. And true, he did go missing. So this doctor was abducted, last year, and people didn't even know where he was. He's Peter Magombe is a doctors union leader in Zimbabwe, and he thought by taking a step of saying, look, we want to be paid. I mean, it's not fair that doctors would be working in Zimbabwe in hospitals and not being paid, especially that expertise is needed. They have families to feed. And I think he had expressed in that video that they hadn't been paid for like 3 or 4 months or so. I remember watching that video so well, vividly. I remember watching. So according to the article, Chinese doctors arrive in Zimbabwe to aid a fight against COVID-19. China has sent a team of 12 medical experts to Zimbabwe to help the African country fight COVID-19. China has sent these experts. What is the agreement between China and Zimbabwe? Why are these Chinese doctors being sent by China? Comment in the comment section below so that we can know what is going on in Zimbabwe when it comes to the Chinese. Are Zimbabweans also facing what we are facing in our parts of Africa? I mean, most people even call Zambia a China colony. They even call it Chambia because, you've heard lots of stories about Zambia where they even commissioned the Chinese police into the police. They commissioned the Chinese into the police force of Zambia. So comment down below. So Dr. Peter had gone missing last year. He is the chairman of the Zimbabwe Doctors Association. He disappeared last year from his home in Budiriro, a poor suburb of Harare, on the night of September 14th last year. His WhatsApp last message, that's the one I watched, was, I said I have been kidnapped by 3 men. And his disappearance really sparked a lot of protests by medical professionals. Many of them had expressed concerns, especially even foreign nationals as well. And the police said that they had found him in the late on the Thursday, in the village about 25 miles. I'm reading this from the Telegraph, and according to them, he was found 25 miles west of Harare near a military barracks. And then in an interview to a Washington-based radio station which broadcasts news from Zimbabwe, he said he had been held in a basement, and I can't say much on YouTube, but they did what they had to do with electricity, and you know what I mean. This person is a human rights activist, and he's been part of the union, and the union is supposed to protect him. That's the reason why he was protesting, because the union is supposed to stand out for people who haven't been paid, and then he was abducted. So how then is the Zimbabwean government going to look after these Chinese doctors? I know they're saying that China is the one that is financing the trip to Zimbabwe. I don't believe it. I don't think so. I don't think so. According to the article as well, the Honorable Monica, who is Zimbabwe's information minister, had said that the police had deployed the country's security to detail for the man's protection, the doctor, because of what had happened. You can imagine you are just protesting for your own rights. We're not being paid, and then you get arrested. So if these Chinese doctors decide to protest, are they also going to be arrested? I don't think so. But we need to wake up as Africans, especially with our African leaders that keep on bringing China into the picture. With everything we do, China has to be involved when we have a huge number of expertise in our countries. So in Zimbabwe, they are embracing the Chinese doctors because they are bringing in free medical supplies, free PPE equipment. If you have heard or read the story of Magufuli, he had tested some of the kits that were donated to Tanzania on animals. And when he sent the kits, the testing kits, they were found positive and they thought it was human beings, but those were animals that he tested on. So we have to be careful with what we are receiving. Zimbabwe has to be careful with what they are receiving because we don't know what China's mission is. Are they on a mission to truly help, or are they on a mission to benefit from Zimbabwe? And definitely should be land. And hopefully they won't increase the infection rate of the COVID-19. So it seems the strike in Zimbabwe has been going on for some time because it only ended this year, January. And I remember watching videos last year. I was following the stories about the abduction of the doctor, Dr. Peter, and it only ended in January when the billionaire Strive Masiyiwa, I got it right, the founder of Econet Wireless, had offered to fund the doctors through a fellowship program for 6 months. This is a great thing from Strive. He's an amazing man that always posts lots of things on Facebook as well to inspire young people. So then Zimbabwean doctors in January had agreed to return to work after accepting a funding offer from the billionaire. And this ended the prolonged strike. Yeah, because I remember Zimbabwe had this strike for long. So I'm even surprised that January, February, March, April, May, they've already invited Chinese doctors. To be honest, it's a mockery on Zimbabwean professionals who have been protesting for non-payment. And as these people come into the country, now, the shocking part is most of the doctors that were striking were earning less than $100 a month. Leaving them struggling to buy food and to get to work. $100 a month for a medical doctor in Zimbabwe, when a cleaner in the UK can get £100 for a shift? What is going on here? Honestly, Zimbabwe needs to rise. 100 what? Not even a Zambian doctor can get $100. Oh, honestly, $100, 2,200 kwacha, a Zambian doctor? No. This is a joke. This is a joke. That is why I'm surprised. How will the Zimbabwean government look after the Chinese doctors? Africa, we have a lot of work to do. In 2019 into 2020, doctors are on $100 a month. I don't blame Zimbabwean doctors who have migrated though. In fact, Zimbabwean doctors who live in Zimbabwe, I salute you for not leaving Zimbabwe. $100. When doctors are on £100,000 a year in the UK, and majority of the doctors are immigrants, this is serious. This is serious, and it needs to change. However, the Zimbabwean government has said that they cannot afford to increase the salaries. Hey, Zimbabwe, your doctor that looks after patients should get $100 a month, and the government has the audacity of even saying they cannot pay more than that. How much is a Zimbabwean minister getting paid? Please comment down below. So can they cut salaries of ministers? What about taxpayers? What about businesses of the Chinese or whoever in Zimbabwe? Don't they pay tax? The doctors should be priority of Zimbabwe. It should be the pride of Zimbabwe. You see, this is what I always say. There's two things that African leaders fail us on: education system and healthcare. And these are the most two important things that one needs to live on this earth. And obviously welfare, which can be supported, and obviously welfare, which can be support here and there. But for a government to say they cannot afford to pay $100, they can't even increase. In fact, they have not even been paying. They are now saying they can't increase. It's a joke. A pure joke. With that, guys, thanks for watching my YouTube channel. It's a girl lilymutamztv, also known as Gelowapazet. See you on my next video. Hi, if you're wondering the lipstick I'm wearing on my lips, I'm wearing Yola Brown by Beautiful You from Beautiful You by lilymutamztv. And it is available for you to become a distributor. You're wondering how you can make money in Zimbabwe or in Africa? Contact me on beautifulyou533@gmail.com, and we can talk about how you can make money as a distributor of Beautiful You products by lilymutamztv. I love you guys. Thanks for watching my YouTube channel. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button, and follow me on all social media platforms at lilymutamztv.